The Atlanta Braves rounded out the opening homestand in style with a 5-1 victory over the Athletics, led by a one fantastic game by Chris Sale, kind of reminding everyone why he is the ace for this team come October if the Braves can get there. His stat line today only gave up one hit. Of course, that was a home run from Shea Langeliers, who has already hit 5 on the young season. So he's had, the Oakland, just the Athletics have 5 losses despite Langeliers' 5 home runs in 6 games. That's kind of insane, but he is the only player hitting right now for Oakland, or for the Athletics. I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to call them Vegas, Sacramento, Oakland. Just bear with me. Sale, 6 innings pitched, only the 1 hit, like I said, 1 earned run, no walks. That's important. He was a little bit wild in the opening game against Kansas City. 3 strikeouts, maybe that's a little alarming, something to keep an eye on down the stretch, but really efficient today. He did all of that, I believe, on 71 pitches, 79 pitches. So pulled early from this one. The Braves had a pretty comfortable lead, so let the bullpen handle it coming out of the 6th inning. I then want to talk about a little bit the bats actually did something. So yesterday, a lot of people were complaining about how Atlanta was approaching. Drake Baldwin had a home run in the 1st inning, and then after that, it just kind of was nothing doing for Atlanta, and that is not what happened. Like, they went 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position last night. Drake Baldwin immediately in the bottom of the 2nd with 2 away, he singled a line drive to left field, and that allowed Ozzie and Dominic Smith to score for Atlanta with the bases loaded. And most of your offense today, in fact, actually, I believe all of your offense was set up by Drake Baldwin in some shape, way, or form. The 2-0, the Braves went up. Langeliers hit the solo homer in the top of the 4th for the A's, but in the bottom of the 4th, with another 2-out strike, Drake Baldwin hit a line drive right off the wall, just missed a home run, and that was one of the best at-bats you will see from any player all year, really. I mean, it was, I think, a 12-pitch at-bat against Alvarado, who was slinging it. I mean, he was hitting 98, 99 on the gun, has that wipeout splitter, and eventually Drake Baldwin just kept fouling away pitches and fouling away pitches and fouling away pitches. And, I mean, like you see, if you look at the game day chart, I mean, ball 1 is a 96 mile per hour sinker, then finally opens up the heat, tried anything to get him out, throws the splitter pitch 6. And then a 4-seam fastball in the zone, a little bit low and away. Baldwin just hits it the other way, slaps it, almost gets out of Truist Park. Still scores 2 runs with Dubon and Dominic Smith, who also had a fantastic game today for Atlanta. And then also in the bottom of the 4th, after that, the next batter up did manage to drive in Drake Baldwin. That was Matt Olson. Just a single, kind of through some infielders, just had enough juice to get through, and Baldwin was able to score. That was the end of the scoring for Atlanta today, but they managed to get on base quite a bit. 7 hits, also collected 5 walks. All of those were against the Athletic starter Luis Severino, who just did not have it today. He walked 5 and gave up 4 hits, 4 earned runs, 7 Ks though, in 3.3 innings pitched. So difficult, kind of weird day for Luis Severino. When he was throwing it in the zone, it was liable to get caught, liable to either be a swing and a miss or hit really hard. And that was how his day went. The Braves won without a home run today. So they were out homered and managed to defeat the Athletics to move to 4-2 on the season. Just something to keep a note on as we go forward. Something else I wanted to mention. I mentioned it during the win on Elder Start Monday night that this team is having a lot of running issues at first base. And I mentioned the Braves have a new first base coach. Antone Richardson, they brought him in from the Mets last year, and he had a phenomenal year with the Mets. But there's been a lot of miscommunication so far with the Braves, but especially Ronald Acuna, Michael Harris, and Ozzie Albies have had trouble getting steals. They've been thrown out at second, but more importantly, they've been picked off at first base. So I wanted to get this. Actually, I wanted to see exactly what, because I want to watch the play again, just so I can react to it. Severino, was able to pick off Acuna back when the Braves had a little bit of momentum brewing. And when was that? Was that the first inning? Either way, I can't find the clip anywhere. But another pickoff of a skilled Braves base runner to start the year, only in 6 games, and I believe they've been picked off 6 times already. So that is an unacceptable for any professional baseball league, but especially one that plays at a high level in Major League Baseball. You can't give the other team extra outs to play with on either side of the ball, and that's becoming a pattern. So we will see if the Braves can improve on it or if there is something different. Did the league catch up on what Antone was doing with the Mets last year? Because the Mets, by far and away, were the best team at stealing last year without really any speedsters on that team. So maybe there was enough tape watched in the offseason and they knew what was going on. Maybe it's just early and the Braves have not adapted yet, or it's been terrible luck. But it's something to keep an eye on as we move out of opening week. Player of the game, and I think it has to go to none other than Drake Baldwin, who I mentioned earlier. I mean, in 3 at-bats today, he had 2 hits and a walk and multiple RBIs. He scored once and had 4 RBIs. So, absolutely fantastic day for Drake Baldwin to cap off a really good week, a 3-homer stretch here in the opening 6 games, and somehow he was the second best Braves developed catcher in this series in terms of home run count, because Shea Langeliers is so good as well. The Braves have a knack for developing catchers and pitchers, and Baldwin and Langeliers are probably 2 of the top 5 catchers in Major League Baseball. And if you include William Contreras in that, then you got 3 of the top 5, maybe? I don't really know who else would be in that tier. Cal Raleigh, Will Smith. I don't know. Maybe Salvador Perez challenges for a spot in the top 5. Either way, the Braves doing what they apparently can develop catcher better than anybody else in the major leagues. So, Drake Baldwin is your player of the game. I was tempted to give it to Chris Sale, but like I mentioned, Baldwin had 4 RBI, and he's already got 7 RBI of the season. 2 hits, both in huge positions for the Braves. Managed to score once, get on base 3 times. So he has been a godsend in that 2-hole, especially considering that Acuna is hitting 150 to start the season. The OPS does a little bit of a different story. I mean, he is hitting the ball really hard, and he is walking, but just a very good start to the season for Drake Baldwin. I thought both Olsen and Riley looked good today. Riley dumped a ball down the third base line, hit pretty hard, just away from the fielder. That was a single, but maybe that gets him going a little bit better. He had a walk today. Olsen, like I mentioned, had the other Braves RBI with a single up the middle. That was not really hard hit, but Olsen finds a way to get on at base with the best of them. and he's had a lot of soft hits this series. So maybe that's a little bit of an alarm bell, but I'm not too particularly worried about Olsen until he's, well, I guess he did do a little bit of chasing last night and today, but we'll keep an eye on it. Such a small sample size already, only 6 games in, but the Braves are 4-2 through those 6 games. Running through the rest of the lineup, Yastrzemski did not really do much at the plate, but he did rob a home run. So 2 home run robberies. Because, I mean, even if we want to mention, the one time that the Athletics were able to get Drake Baldwin out was when Denzel Clark made a Sports Center top 10 highlight by going up over the wall in center field and effortlessly robbing him. That ball, at least on the first watch, looked like he was already in the stands when he pulled it back. But I don't know if that ball got out, but it was at least an extra base hit, if not the 4th home run of the season for Drake Baldwin. Denzel Clark, excellent play. And he did that a few times last year. Probably my favorite center fielder to watch besides Michael Harris and center field there, Denzel Clark. Just web gem after web gem. It's kind of crazy. I mean, there's a lot of counterparts on these two teams. Like, Langeliers and Baldwin are going to get compared to each other because, obviously, Langeliers was in the Braves system. Got traded for Matt Olson a few years ago. And so, 2 catchers developed by the Braves. How do they compare against each other? Olson, I mean, he used to be the franchise first baseman for the Athletics. And now that's Nick Kurtz. They're going to kind of be compared to each other a little bit. Not as much as Olson and Freddie, because they're not in the same generation of player, but just that. But then you look at, I mean, Lawrence Butler and Michael Harris get comparisons, but Lawrence Butler is probably Oakland's, or the Athletics Acuna kind of placement. Denzel Butler, I mean, that's your Michael Harris. He goes up and he makes plays. He does what he can at the plate, but for now, he is just your reliable defensive anchor in center field. And, I mean, even then, you could kind of compare a guy like Brent Rooker to Austin Riley. So there's a lot of kind of interesting comparisons with the homegrown or been there a while younger players for the Athletics and then the Braves. I think there's they very much mirror each other, and the A's this year, I mean, I know they're off to a 1-5 start, but they have just a horrific start to the season. They had to go to Toronto, then Atlanta. They fly home to Houston, but then they have to go play 6 games in New York directly after against the Mets and the Yankees. So very tough first 5 series, both travel-wise and opponent-wise for the Athletics. But they do give me some like 2018 Braves vibes, where they might be a little bit frisky down the stretch, catch fire, and make a run at one of those wild card spots. If not for not the division. I mean, kind of depends on what Seattle and Houston do, though Seattle is the favorite for a reason in that division. Speaking of travel, the Braves ended this homestand. They are going out to Arizona tonight. They're probably already boarding the plane, and they'll fly into Phoenix for a 4-game series against the Arizona Diamondbacks. To give you an update on how the Snakes are doing, they play in about 10 minutes is when first pitch against the Tigers will be for the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks took the first 2 in that series against Detroit. So, yeah, by a score 7-5 and 9-6. So far, most of these games they've played, they got swept in 3 by the Dodgers, but most of these games have been relatively high scoring, at least against Detroit. 7-5, 9-6. They lost 3-2, 5-4, and 8-2. So even though the record is only 2-3, might be 3-3 or 2-4 by the time the Braves land in Arizona, the Diamondbacks are a frisky team, and the Braves have to see them for 4 in the desert. Looking at probable pitchers for that series, I know they were not published around the middle of the game for at least Arizona, but taking a look back just to see if the page has been updated. I know the Braves do have some starters lined up. So Reynaldo Lopez will go tomorrow. He had a really good game I thought against Kansas City he gave up the Wood home run to Salvador Perez in the 7th inning, but we'll see if he can continue that momentum against the Diamondbacks. He'll see Ryan Nelson, who has a 7.71 ERA and only 4 strikeouts on the young season. But looking at his stats last year for the Snakes, he had a 3.39 ERA in 33 games, 154 innings pitched, and a whip of 107. So definitely a formidable arm for the Snakes there in Game 1. The Braves will send out Grant Holmes in Game 2 of that series, Bryce Elder in Game 3, and then to be determined in Game 4. They'll face Eduardo Rodriguez, Michael Soroka, and Brandon Pfaadt for that series. But that's all for today's recap. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. I make a lot of Braves content and make a lot of other sports content on this YouTube page. So it really does help the channel out if you could do that for me. So until tomorrow from the desert, I'm Caden, and I'll see you tomorrow.